There is sadly a lot of men out there nowadays that have joint soreness, joint pain, arthritis, limited joint function, that believe that strength training will make it worse. In this video, I'm going to take you through 2 studies and show their conclusions about strength training and their effects on osteoarthritis in men. I'm also going to give you a strength training program that you can conduct at home at any level of ability. How to regress the exercises to your ability level, and then how to progress them exercises to improve your strength over time. That is my promise. I'm going to summarise 2 studies that conclude the effects of strength training on men with OA, and I'm going to give you a strength training program that you can conduct at home. So if that sounds good, get yourself comfortable. Who am I? My name is Paul Green. I'm the founder of the Longevity Programme, which is a strength conditioning service targeted for men over the age of 40. But I'm a former British paratrooper and PTI and Special Forces Support Group operator. Over the past decade, I've trained thousands of elite men across defence, including those in the RAF, Royal Marines, Parachute Regiment. I've seen a lot of crusty individuals that have really weak joints. It is important that I know how to counteract those weak joints with some of the stuff I'm going to go into today. Anyway. The role of resistance training, dosing on pain and physical function in individuals with knee osteoarthritis. The objective, to determine whether resistance training affects pain and physical function in individuals with knee osteoarthritis, and whether a dose-response relationship exists. Second, we will investigate whether the effects are influenced by Kellgren-Lawrence grade or location of the issue. The Kellgren's grade system is basically a grading system which dictates on whether the severity of your osteoarthritis based off radiographic images. Study selection. Inclusion criteria were randomized controlled trials reporting changes in pain and physical function in humans with knee osteoarthritis, comparing resistance training interventions with no intervention. 2 reviewers screened 471 abstracts. 12 of the 13 studies assessed were included. The results. The 12 included studies had high methodology quality. Of these, 11 studies revealed that resistance training improved pain and or physical function. The most common regime was 30 to 60 minute session of 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions with an initial resistance of 50 to 60% of their maximum. That progressed over 3 sessions per week for 24 weeks. Conclusion. Resistance training improves pain and physical function in knee osteoarthritis. Large effect sizes were associated with 24 total sessions and an 8 to 12 week duration. 12-week duration of the Longevity Programme. No optimum number of repetitions, maximum strength, or frequency of sets were found. No trends were identified between the grade of the osteoarthritis based off radiographic images or the location of the osteoarthritis. So when you hear people say, but it's really bad, it's chronic, the efficacy of home-based progressive strength training in older adults with knee osteoarthritis, a randomized controlled trial. The objective, to test the effects of high-intensity home-based progressive strength training programs on clinical signs and symptoms of osteoarthritis of the knee. Methods. 46 community dwelling patients aged 55 years and older with knee pain and radiographic evidence of knee OA were randomised to a 4-month home-based progressive strength training program or a nutritional education program. 38 patients completed the trial with an adherence of 84% to the intervention and 64% to the attention control. Results. Patients in the strength training group who completed the trial had a 71% improvement in knee extension strength in the leg reported as most painful, versus a 3% improvement in the control group that was doing nutritional education training. In a modified intent to treat analysis, self-reported pain improved by 36% and physical function improved by 38%. in the strength training group versus 11 and 21 respectively in the other one. In addition, those patients in the strength training group who completed the trial had a 43% reduction in pain and a 44 mean improvement in self-reported physical function, and improvements in performance, quality of life and self-efficacy when compared to the other nutritional education group. Conclusion: high intensity home-based strength training can produce substantial improvements in strength, pain, physical function, quality of life in patients with knee osteoarthritis. Take a print screen of this and refer back to it later on. I'm just going to take you through the videos, the demonstrations on how to do these exercises. The next slide I will provide progressions of all of these exercises and regressions to ensure that everybody can apply progressive overload no matter what your start point is. Shoes off will enable us to strengthen our toes, feet and ankles. Place most of the weight on the front of your foot and use the railing if required. Chair sit holds. Build up to 90 degrees at the knee joint. Progress by going onto single leg holds. Tibialis anterior raises. Find yourself a wall and lean into it with your legs straight. Raise your toes up as high as you can and then return them to the start position. Full range of motion, calf raises. Find yourself a wall to lean into and get a really nice calf stretch and press your toes through the floor, slow and under control. Heels elevated bodyweight squat. Place your fingers on your clavicles and have your elbows up nice and high. Chest out presented proudly. Aim to get as low down as you can. Patrick step. Make sure your glute is fully engaged and your hip is always extended. Your chest is up nice and high and you step forward touching down the heel of the other foot. ATG split squat. Go forward and down in a smooth diagonal direction. Aim to get your knee over your toe as far as possible, and even if it raises your heel off the floor, that is completely fine. Keep your rear leg as straight as possible. Keep the torso upright. This movement can be made more challenging by lowering the height of the front leg and adding load. The longevity warm-up. A way you can regress walking upstairs backwards would be to walk on flat ground backwards. Walking backwards provides a unique horizontal force through the knee, which forces the muscles that surround the knee to actually work. These are usually the main areas of concern for people with knee issues. So a way you could regress it is by doing it on flat. The way you could progress it is up the stairs and you start to reduce the amount of assistance you require for balance when walking up the stairs. Another way you could progress it is moving faster. Another way you could progress it is by missing out a step, forcing you to increase your range of motion. Chair sit holds, the video demonstrates, you are to build up to a position where you can do 90 degree at the knee joint. Once you can achieve that for 30 seconds, then single leg chair sit variations can be applied. If that again is coming too easy, then you can add load and resistance onto this movement by simply carrying an object that is a little bit of weight. The tibialis anterior raise. To make this exercise more easy, you would bring your feet closer to the wall. To make it harder, you would move your feet further away from the wall. With the calf raise, you would add load or do a single leg variation. So heels elevated squat, one of the ways that you can regress this exercise is by simply not going all the way down, building up to these deeper ranges of motion. One way you can build up into the deeper ranges of motion is by just giving yourself assistance in getting there. So you could simply go down into a chair or a little bit lower than a chair, or you could use a couple of brooms or a brush to aid in your balance, so then you can actually help and assist you get yourself back out of them deeper ranges, because even if you're assisting yourself, you're still actually doing a little bit of the work with the muscles that surround the knee. Heels elevated squat progressions to ensure that you continue to build strength in these deeper ranges, you would just simply add load to that movement. The Patrick step, one way you can make this easier if getting your knee further forward than your foot causes you to really panic, you can use some form of wall for balance, just to ensure that you've got a bit of stability coming from elsewhere rather than just the knee and the hip joint. You can also raise the height where your front heel is supposed to go. For example, you could do, if you really struggle with this exercise, you could have an object on the floor in which you put your heel touches, and then as you progress, that front heel would become lower and lower and lower. When you progress further than the basic level, you can then add a step underneath your standing foot to ensure that you have to come down a little bit further. And again, more advanced versions of this would be adding load to that movement. The split squat, regressions of the split squat would include increasing the height of the front leg. Now, depending on your mobility levels and your strength levels will dictate where you are starting with this, but it doesn't matter where you are starting with this. All that matters is that you are cracking on and starting this journey of developing your knee strength. Over time, your knees will become stronger, your muscles will become stronger, and then you will be able to lower the height of the front leg, which then makes it more challenging for these muscles that surround the knee. Again, applying that progressive overload which we need in order to get really strong. Eventually, your front leg will be on the floor and you will have an exceptional range of motion in this. When you're there, you can start to add load. So you can start to use dumbbells or resistance, any sort of load that you have around the house. So hopefully you understand they are the regressions and progressions, both extremely important, because you should not do any of these movements if you feel pain. So it's important to know the regressions in order for you to train without pain, and then it's important for you to know the progressions because you need to apply the progressions in order to continue to get strong in these areas. To summarise, the study showed that there was a 71% improvement in knee extension strength over a 24-week period of progressive strength training on the muscles that surround the knee. 43% mean reduction in pain. Almost half the pain gone. Absolutely mental. And again, almost half improvement in self-reported physical function. This is a 24-week period, doing 2 to 3 sessions per week. Over to you, gentlemen. If you enjoyed the video, thank you for sticking around. Absolutely love delivering this one. Massively passionate subject of mine. Hopefully you find it useful. If you find it useful, subscribe to the channel. There is plenty more of this on the way.